How do you maintain your integrity while using AI to build your content and grow your business? Welcome to this week's episode of the Blender Business Show. I'm your host, producer Jemmy. As a small business owner, you likely wear many hats. You're not just in charge of managing the overall direction of your business, you're also the lead salesperson, having to not only generate new leads for your sales funnel, but to also close all those leads to grow your business. You also manage the human resources, air quotes, department, if you can call it that. You write up and post job descriptions, review applications, onboard new hires, and handle any issues and conflicts that may arise. Then, you're also having to deal with both accounts receivable, your invoicing, yay, and your accounts payable, your company overhead, boo, and payroll. But wait, there's more! You also have to likely create all of your business's content too, from videos to share on YouTube to shorts and reels for TikTok and Instagram. And don't forget the blog posts for your website and episodes for your podcast. Woo! It's a lot. And on top of all of that busy work, you're probably also still handling a good chunk of your main business's service. In my case, that means launching, editing, and distributing podcasts. Like I said, it's a lot. So, with so many new AI tools becoming available, from a more generalized tool like ChatGPT through more specialized AI tools like Marblism's AI assistants, how do you decide when and how to jump into using it? Well, that alone is a huge topic, but I'm going to focus today on how you can make your AI decisions good decisions by weighing the pros and cons. According to Visology, quote, AI can help save time for individuals by automating tasks like scheduling, data entry, and reminders. AI-powered virtual assistants can manage appointments, set alarms, and organize to-do lists, freeing up time for higher priority activities, end quote. And in more specific terms relating to small business, Visology goes on to say, quote, AI saves time in day-to-day operations by handling repetitive tasks, analyzing data, and generating reports efficiently. It is increasingly used by CEOs and business leaders to enhance marketing strategies, personalize customer interactions, and improve sales outcomes, end quote. And the list of what AI can do for your business really goes on and on from there, and that list is expanding every day. AI can now be used to generate not just blog posts for your website, but your entire website itself. It can be used to make training videos for your new employees, promotional materials for your sales cycle, and so much more. But it's not always so easy peasy to integrate AI into your business processes and get your team on board and using it ethically and efficiently. According to Peninsula, small businesses face several challenges when implementing AI. The first of these challenges they mention is making roles redundant. They suggest that, quote, ideally, AI should enhance productivity and simplify jobs without making them redundant, end quote. The second challenge they focus on is the financial cost of AI for businesses. As they point out, quote, the amount of money you invest in AI will be determined by the scope of your initiatives. If you're using AI to create written content or web graphics, the process will be quick and only cost a monthly subscription. However, if you plan to use AI to analyze your company data, this could easily be a significant investment, end quote. The third challenge they list is probably one of the most concerning for you and all small business owners: data security. If you're hooking up your system to a third-party AI service and that service needs to scan your emails, website, data files, etc., how do you know you can trust it? Well, Peninsula states that, quote, many businesses implement additional cybersecurity measures, such as multi-factor authentication or encryption, to ensure they maintain strong data protection and governance, end quote. Number 4 on their list is likely one that may have you the most wary of adopting AI, because it feels like, and rightly is, such a revolutionary realm of technology, a lack of technical skills to use it. Depending on what AI solution will work best to answer your business's needs, you may have to hire a new team member just to implement it properly. Oh my Gosh. And if you are diving into the shallow end of the AI pool, you or a current member of your team will still have to learn how to use it properly to maximize benefits and results. And not only can that learning curve be intimidating, it can also have a direct impact on that second challenge mentioned above, the financial cost. And finally, Peninsula's fifth listed challenge of implementing AI focuses mainly on the results of what AI generates for you, the importance of data quality. Quote, "The quality of your data will have a direct influence on the performance, reliability, and accuracy of your AI results. Most businesses contemplating large, data-driven AI projects will start by evaluating the amount of work required to prepare their data sets. Putting the wrong information in results in getting the wrong information out. And that can be costly, especially if it relates to payroll and miscalculating wages." End quote. So, as a quick review, the 5 challenges I suggest focusing on first, which the Peninsula article covers, though this discussion really just scratches the surface given the scope of AI tools available today. Those first 5 challenges are, number 1, whether the AI makes roles redundant. Number 2, the financial costs of implementing the AI tool. Number 3, data security concerns when giving AI access to your company and customer information. Number 4, the technical skills to use it, which again can also have a direct impact on the second challenge, the financial cost. And number 5, data quality, essentially garbage in, garbage out. And I've included a link to Peninsula's full article in the show notes in case you'd like to dive deeper. Today, we're going to talk to Ulric Musset. Ulric is the founder of Marblism, a platform that creates AI employees to help entrepreneurs and business owners scale with less stress. Previously, he built Vauban, a fintech company that grew to 65 employees and over $5 million in revenue before being acquired by Carta in 2022. So, this man knows and is very familiar with the pain points of growing a business. After experiencing firsthand how virtual assistants transformed his productivity from managing his inbox to driving growth through LinkedIn and SEO, Ulric set out to replicate that leverage with AI. Today, he's on a mission to give every business access to the same kind of support that once changed his own life. And there are certain aspects that I liked about Marblism's AI functionality that made me decide to start using it. I'd really hoped to hire a human team member to handle my social media, writing my blog posts, etc. But when I tried doing that in the past, I realized what a gamble it was finding the right person on my own. It just didn't work out. And then I found an agency I really aligned with who are real experts at vetting great virtual assistants. But I simply couldn't afford it. So in this conversation, you'll hear about how I moved forward in the world of AI in a way that answered those concerns of mine, plus a couple more. This episode is brought to you by Flintstone Media. Listen in. All right, I am here with Ulric, the man behind Marblism, and I'm so excited that Marblism has come into my life. So welcome to the show, Ulric. How are you?
Thanks a lot for having me, Jimmy. I'm great.
Awesome.
I'm excited for the conversation, yeah.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Me too. So let's just dive right in. How does Marblism work? Without giving away any trade secrets and what's really under the hood, can you give us some of the nuts and bolts of the framework of Marblism?
Yeah, for sure. So Marblism is an AI team to scale businesses, essentially. So we provide various different team members. So you've got an executive assistant that's going to manage your inbox, record meetings and takes notes. You're going to have a social media manager that's going to take care of publishing on your social media, on your LinkedIn, on your Instagram, on your Facebook. We've got a sales rep that's going to reach out to people. We've got a receptionist as well. We've got 7 of those. So it's going to be pretty long to talk about each one of those. But the concept essentially is to have every single AI agent that talk to each other and do work for you, for your business inside the same platform, right? So that's the concept. And we are releasing every month a new AI employee to join your team.
It is really spectacular. Now, AI has been really surging onto various markets for the last couple of years now. I think the first one that really grabbed everybody's attention was ChatGPT,
Of
and that's
course.
grown some legs. But every time I've seen the latest and greatest AI product or something's crossed my screen, my feed, whatever, it hasn't been able to dispel my two main reservations. Okay. So the first main reservation that I've always had is it feels like you lose a lot of authenticity when you start turning to AI. I wanted to be able to still present myself and my business with my own humanness, my own voice. It's very authentic. My vision for the podcasting's best practices and be really true to my experience in servicing people as a producer and a host. And so I've always kind of shied away from AI, feeling like you lose all of that. But with Marblism, you don't lose all of that. Can you speak to how Marblism helps retain the humanness of the person who's using it?
Yeah, so exactly as you said, like that was for me as well the biggest problem of AI and ChatGPT is that it sounds like it's AI generated, right? So
Yeah.
when you are asking ChatGPT to write your LinkedIn post, like everyone can see it, right? Like and so that's we worked a lot on this problem. And so we are tackling that in two different ways. The first one is that we train an AI model, we fine tune an AI model on, for example, for social media, all of the posts you've written in the past, right? To really make sure the post will sound like you and like your brand.
Mm-hmm.
And the same for emails. For example, to make sure an email sounds like you, we're going to train the AI on all of the emails you sent in the past. So that's the first way. And then the second way is that we train a different algorithm to make different and small tweaks on the output, on the text, to make sure as well it sounds less AI generated, right? And by combining these two methods, like the quality is pretty good. And you can't tell it's AI. Like we submitted all of our contents to like different, tests you can find on the internet. And every time it's like 0% AI generated. So that's great.
That's awesome. Let me tell you. Okay, so before I started using it and I saw the ad for it and it piqued my attention because I was like, oh, it really does try to sound like you. But there was also still like, I was like, okay, yeah, right. Let's see how it really goes, right? And so I started using it. And here was the cool thing right off the bat. Before I got to any output, got to see any results or anything, the very first thing you do is you have this onboarding system with each and every single one of your assistants. So you're welcoming them onto your team, much like you would a real life human being. And you're giving them some parameters, some instructions. First of all, the fact that it scanned my website and like knew all this information about what I do as a business was like mind blowing. And then I was able to write email templates and things like that. So it started with me, with my business, with my voice and all these things. And let me tell you, there was a time, it was about 3 or 4 days ago, where the virtual assistant, Eva, she responded to an email, right? She written a draft for an email
Yeah.
response. And I'm reading this thing and I'm like, dang, got it? That's exactly how I sound. Like it was almost freaky because I just like, I don't need to change anything. This is amazing. She even used the right emojis that I would use. Like, it was unreal how much it really did feel like me. And I also really liked that I still had the option to keep those things as a draft and like still tweak them before I actually sent them. So, oh my gosh, it makes me still feel like I'm leading the charge. It's still me. It's still my voice. So I really love how you guys have managed to do that. It's really remarkable. And the second concern of mine was with other things like ChatGPT or whatever. I would see like courses and things online about how to use it and learn this over the weekend. I'm like, it feels like I'm still doing a lot of work to apparently save time. If I'm trying to learn how to prompt this and that, if I'm trying to research its results and make sure that they're valid, like where's the time saving? So but Marblism has also, I think, really allayed those concerns too. Like, I feel like I trust so much that Marblism puts out for me. You mentioned the AI and how you have the algorithm, but how are you so good at making sure that the results are really honest and truthful? It's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it's a lot of hard work, but as you say, it's exactly one problem we really wanted to solve is, on your LinkedIn, on X, you see these people creating like crazy charts with like 150 nodes that are communicating to each other, and they want to sell you the system for like $5,000 or $10,000. And we wanted to do something that has a really good value for money, right? And exactly that you don't really need to master it or know how to prompt, etc. Because what we realize is that to know how to prompt an AI is pretty complex, actually. And so we want to do all this work of prompting it for you, right? So you don't have to prompt it, and they will be proactive. And that's the most important thing, is that they are proactive, right? They don't wait for you to ask them to draft a reply to your email. They're going to do it by themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key difference, right? Because when you prompt, it's still some work, right? And you are waiting in front of your computer for the AI to load and to
Right.
and you don't want to do that. It still feels like work, even if it's working pretty well, right? So it was definitely a goal of ours that they are proactive, that you don't need to learn or know how to prompt, and good value for money, right? Where you don't have to take a $200 course to know how to use it, or we don't sell you the solution for like a crazy price, right? So that was the three constraints, right? We were trying to optimize the business for.
Yeah, and you guys did a remarkable job. I know that I was pleasantly surprised that once I signed up for it, I was invited to do some sort of onboarding session myself and actually learn a little bit more how to use it and everything. And it was very, very helpful. But so as somebody who's hired, I've probably hired, maybe 12 to 15 people over the last maybe 11 years. And so I'm familiar with what onboarding feels like. When I did my own onboarding then of my actual AI assistants, it was very parallel to onboarding a human being, telling them what parameters to do and everything. So now with Stan, my sales guy, for example, I tell him what kind of leads I want and then what time to serve them up to me during the day. With Penny, who's the blog writer, I could tell her what kind of blog ideas I'm looking for or how many to suggest to me and what time to make those suggestions so that it works within my workflow. It just feels super parallel to working with an actual team of human assistants. And that actually brings up the third reservation I had to using AI. So as somebody who's hired people and I'm always looking to create jobs, and I've always felt like I think I feel too guilty hiring an AI assistant, a virtual assistant, rather than an actual human being. But the thing is, when I hired an actual human being assistant, there were a lot of flaws because they were an actual human being. That just didn't work out. It wasn't cost effective. So then I thought, okay, I'm going to go with, instead of hiring myself someone, I'm going to go to an agency who's like really, really good at hiring great assistants. But then that was cost prohibitive to me. So I'm like, I can't win here. I'm just going to need to keep doing all this myself. And when I was using Marblism, the aha moment that I had was I don't need to feel guilty because these assistants, they're AI, but they're making me so efficient and they're building my business that at the end of the day, I'll be able to hire a human editor, for example, a human producer, for example. So it still allows me to create jobs in an even better fashion, I think. Are you seeing some of that similar response to the people who are starting to use Marblism? What are some of the impacts that you've seen?
Yes, so it's funny that you thought that because it's exactly our goal, right? Our goal is to target businesses where you wouldn't risk to hire like a marketing director for $7,000 because it's a lot of money, right? Mm-hmm. But we are at like $39 per month and it's a no-brainer. But of course, the goal is eventually to hire a marketing director because of course they're going to do a better job than our tool, right? Because it's $7,000, it's not $39, right? So our goal is to help businesses to reach that stage and to have enough help, even if it's AI, to reach that stage and hire like real human, right? And so it's funny because we receive essentially two different type of emails or like reaction. We have some people that email me saying, sadly, I let go of my virtual assistant. So that's one type of email we receive. And I don't know how to take it because on one side, it proves that the product kind of works. But on the other side, it's pretty sad, right? Because someone just let go of their virtual assistant. But we have other people that say, Listen, I redirected my virtual assistant to work on more strategic work than just replying my emails. And so that's, for me, the best approach, right? Like if you had already an executive assistant and you had enough money to pay for them, then you can reallocate their work to work on a higher level project or more strategic, decision than just to filter your emails and almost act like a robot, right? And put a filter or like write stuff that is very predictable. And so I prefer, if you have already an executive assistant, that you reallocate, of course, her work to help you, scale your business even faster rather than letting them go, right?
Yeah. But also over the history of business and innovation and technology and everything, there are always jobs that exist and then they fade away due to increase in technology. And no matter what we do, AI, I believe very firmly is here to stay. It's going to keep going and growing, and it's going to keep affecting the kind of jobs that people can realistically have. But I've always kind of felt weird about that, but I've been starting to see that in a much more positive light, because like you were just saying, you can take someone who was doing something that was maybe very robotic and limited their amount of creativity and skill building. And now you're putting them in a position where, whether it's with the same company, they are learning something new, or they go out and take a course and maybe better their career in that way so that they can up the level of their skill set. So I think, listen, AI is going to create some of that disruption, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to lead people to higher paying jobs, higher skill sets, better experience overall, and at the same time, allowing businesses to continue to grow and flourish and hire them back, right, for different things. So I see it as nothing but a net positive now, which honestly, a year ago, I would have never imagined I would feel this way. And I still think I feel that way about 90% of the AI stuff I see out there. But Marblism just really has stood out to me to be very, very different. So I want to thank you for that. So we've talked now about how businesses can use Marblism to grow. But now I'm curious, and especially in terms of the content it can help businesses create. I mean, the blog posts are just phenomenal. Don't even get me started. Go to flintstonemedia.com/blog. You'll be like, wow, this is amazing. It is. But I'm curious, though, how has Marblism utilized content creation to grow itself? So, I mean, the first way that I became aware of Marblism was through a Facebook ad, right? So how are you guys strategizing your own content in order to grow your business with Marblism?
Yeah, so essentially there are two ways we find customers. The first one is through Google. Like essentially we use our self-Penny to write all of our blog articles, right? So we've got 60 of them on our website.
That's awesome. So that's to touch on to SEO, search engine optimization.
Yeah, SEO, search engine optimization, etc. Right? And so right now we are ranked number 6 when you Google AI employees, which is really good just on Penny by herself.
Go Penny!
And it's been really good because it's a competitive keyword, right? And so most of our customers will find us all on Google. And then what works well as well is Facebook ads. And so that's why one of the next AI employee we want to launch will be Google AdWords and Facebook ads.
Nice.
With videos, right? Because videos tend to work really well. The videos are a bit complex to do, especially in one shot, to create like a perfect video. So that's why it takes a bit more time to develop. But that's the 2 next AI employees we want to launch.
Well, that's fantastic. One of the things I've noticed much more recently, like in the last week, I think I've seen a change, a little bit of a shift in the Facebook ads themselves. Like there was a time where I saw the same kind. They were all basically illustrations or animations, I should say, of the AI assistants themselves, Eva looking like a boss on the screen or Penny or whatever, right? And now I'm also starting to see, it looks like ads where some of your users are now sharing how they've used Marblism and showing them scrolling and using it on their phone and whatnot. So are you doing some A/B testing with the different kinds of ads? Is that who manages all that and what's the strategy behind that, if you don't mind?
Yeah, so half of the ads, I'm doing it myself, and half of the others are done by an agency. And so we are testing a lot of different variations. It's funny because what the agency told me, like normally in an ad, you're not supposed to talk about the product. You're supposed to talk about, the pain point. On like, do you want your business to scale, etc. But they were telling me with Marblism, what's unique is that if you talk about the product, it works. Like if you talk about AI employees, etc., you don't even have to talk about the pain points.
Oh yeah, we all know exactly what those pain points are.
Yeah, so I found it funny, yeah. So that's how we do it, yeah.
And you guys have a really phenomenal price point. I mean, it's really easy to get started. I was up and running within a day. And then when you guys did the onboarding, and I got to see that session, and it gave me an idea to create a second workspace for Blender and the Blender community in the show that's separate. And it just was, again, very easy to set up a second set of AI assistants. So I guess my question is, you've mentioned that you're going to have Facebook and Google ads as the next assistants. Do you have anything else in the works? What's coming down the pipeline for Marblism?
So it's just going to be more AI employees, essentially. I think we have the foundation, right? Like the way the system works, etc. We are pretty happy with it. But the next one are going to be the AdWords and Facebook ads AI employees. And then the ability to have video generation for social media. Because as you know, now video is everywhere, right? And your content should be videos. And that's what works on TikTok and on Instagram. But video is very hard to generate. So that's why it's taking a bit to develop, because we want to generate like a perfect video, right? Because what's happening right now is that you can use AI to generate videos and they are great, but you still need to spend 2 hours on CapCut to edit all of these 8 seconds AI generated videos, put some subtitles, put some animation, find the music, etc. And that takes 2 hours.
Yeah.
And so we are trying to find a way to basically create a video that is almost perfect and publishable, like right now, that you don't have to tweak it for an hour. And that's a challenge.
Yeah, that goes like right to the heart of one of my initial concerns was, AI is great, but I still feel like I have to do a lot of work. Yeah. So I appreciate that you guys are thinking about the full scope of the process and making sure that you can automate as much of that as possible. So I guess my basic question is, how are you personally so familiar with all of these pain points? You're a businessman and entrepreneur yourself, and you've had teams and those kinds of things, I'm guessing?
Yeah, so I was running another business before starting that one. So it was a business in finance. We were helping people launch investment funds, like venture capital funds to invest into startups. That was a crazy complex business. We were dealing with taxes, regulation, legal stuff,
lots of fun, I'm
reporting.
Sure.
Like it was, it was very intense. And basically I scaled that business to 65 employees and 5 million of revenue. And so, I was a pure hustler. Like I was working 80 hours, 90 hours a week. And what really changed my life and what really helped me to manage my schedule, etc., was hiring virtual assistant, right? So I had an executive assistant. She was amazing. And she was doing everything that Eva does now, right? And so that's what gave me the idea. Essentially, I sold my previous business and I wanted to do something to help people, like you, people like me, business owners, entrepreneurs, getting up to speed like faster, right, in their business. And so I design every single of these AI employees on exactly how I used to work with my virtual assistant, how I used to work with my LinkedIn ghostwriter that would publish on my LinkedIn, right? Because I use the ghostwriter on LinkedIn. And that's because I worked so much with like virtual assistant and freelancer that I was able to design them in a way that was kind of working. So yeah.
Well, I personally want to thank you for bringing such an amazing product to the market.
That's good to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, and for keeping in mind all of those concerns that people like me had and all of the needs that people like me had. And so I wish you nothing but the best of luck in continuing to grow this thing. And thank you for being so accessible too. So I really appreciate how much I can just email you and I get, maybe sometimes it's Eva, but may I hear back from you. And it's really awesome. It's really awesome. Thank you so much, Ulric. Where can people find Marblism and get in touch and onboard themselves?
Marblism.com or just Google Marblism. You can spell it however you like, and you're going to find us on Google. So that's
fantastic. I'll definitely be putting a link in the show notes. Thank you, Ulric.
Thanks a lot for having me, Janie. Really enjoy it.
Welcome to my Sticky Note Quickie for this week's Blender Business Show. My chat with Ulric Musset ended with a brief discussion on using Facebook ads to gain new customers for your business. But I'll dive into a sticky note, or probably several sticky notes, focused on Facebook ads on future episodes where they're more of the core topic of conversation with my guests. So today, I'm going to be focused in on AI. AI is definitely not going anywhere. As it gets more and more integrated into the software of every type of tech you can imagine, to ignore it would be a mistake. There's a thought I've seen and heard shared a few times about AI that essentially says that if you're not using AI, you'll be competing with those who do. Now, I hesitate to say that you have to adopt AI, but every industry may favor those who do more and more over time. And there is a fairly consistent history to the idea that those who do not adapt to change will be buried by it. So keep that in mind. Now, I don't advocate using AI to accomplish the core service offering and skill set that you're providing for others, and we'll dig deeper into that here in a minute. But as I was discussing with Ulric, having AI take over my busy work has been a godsend. But no matter what kind of AI you choose to explore and consider integrating, I wonder if my three main concerns are some of the same concerns you may have been having about using AI. So let's take a closer look at each. Number one, lack of authenticity. I am very vested in staying personally connected to my audience. I do not want to sound robotic, whether on a microphone, writing up an episode description, drafting a blog post, sending an email, or really ever. Instead, I want to maintain my own voice and not sound too polished. And I want to represent myself, my ideas, and my experience accurately. That means not letting AI make up stuff, especially since that's what AI can tend to do when it can't find the answer and information it needs to include in its results for you. If it can't find it, AI can simply make it up. And that is not something I want out there representing me. Something false and made up. No, thank you. So on that note, if you are using AI, any AI, read through everything it generates for you. And when you do, if the information and claims it makes is stuff you can't authenticate and verify with your own brain of knowledge, you shouldn't print it. In other words, if it couldn't come from you, it shouldn't come from you. You'd be misrepresenting yourself, and that is no bueno. Number two, true efficiency and time saved. The basic idea here is real simple. First, do you have to learn how to prompt it and take an online class just to figure out how to use it? If the answer is yes, then you may need to decide if that learning curve is worth your time. For me personally, having to really learn how to prompt and all that was a big deterrent for me. I mean, I don't know about you, but if you're a busy entrepreneur trying to grow your business while also tending to your clients, you need stuff taken away from your plate, not added onto it. And the second part of this true efficiency consideration, and an even bigger deterrent for me, was the idea that, yeah, AI could generate post copy or images I needed or whatever, but I would still have to do the work to post it everywhere it needed to be seen. My website, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. I didn't want to still have to do a lot of work to use what AI was giving me. I wanted it to create the draft of the post so I could review it, then have it publish it for me. So I wasn't going to dive into adopting an AI program unless and until it could not only create the content for me with my own parameters established in order to honor my first concern of authenticity, but to also then publish it where I needed it to publish it. When I put both of these two first considerations together, authenticity and efficiency, essentially, these were the exact same end goals and purpose I would have been looking to fulfill and had in the past by hiring an assistant, onboarding them with loads of information and training, reviewing and approving their work, and then having them go through the steps of publishing the content. So I decided that I wasn't going to adopt AI software until that's the hole I felt like it was fulfilling. But that led me to my third concern, guilt. So, number 3, guilt over not hiring a human. My entire career as an entrepreneur has been centered around helping others achieve their goals. And part of that picture has been creating jobs and hiring amazing humans to fulfill them. In fact, my first hiree was a great guy named George, and he's still working with me more than 6 years later. But growing and sometimes shrinking my team over the years has resulted in a lot of lessons learned. One of those is that hiring a person and giving them a job that they relied on meant I was financially responsible for maintaining that position. But there are two sides to that coin. Not only do you have to increase revenue coming in, but you also have to manage costs going out. And when that's been too difficult to balance, I've unfortunately had to dissolve positions. And that just plain sucks. And if I'm trying to fulfill every role with a real live human person, I'm jeopardizing the entire team and the entire business. But I had a hard time overcoming that guilt of adopting AI to fulfill tasks, any tasks, instead of a human, until I had my aha moment. My guilt about deciding to use AI assistants like Marblism offers, rather than hiring real human assistants, vanished when I realized that the AI assistants will help me to grow my business by handling a lot of the busy work that growing a business requires. And my business could then grow to a point where I can then hire more real human editors and producers, which reflects the main service offerings of my company. As an example, a few months ago, I revamped my entire business plan and menu of service offerings, which I'll explain why in terms of AI here in a minute, because it's crucial to maintaining your own business, and I want to get to it. But keeping on track for now, one of those things that I put on the top of my list when revamping my business plan was designing a new outboard sales program. I am great at closing sales, but what I don't have a lot of time to do is to scout for qualified leads to close those sales on. So the faucet was just drip, drip, dripping, rather than having the handle turned all the way up and fully flowing free. Now, AI can't help me with everything in terms of outbound leads, but it can help me with that, finding qualified leads to cold call and cold email to begin the sales process with. And that is arguably one of the biggest and most time-consuming parts of an outbound sales program. So with Stan, who is my Marblism AI assistant for lead generation, I just told him what kind of customers I was looking for. That's it. Then he goes out, metaphorically speaking, of course, and finds them and reports back with who they are, the company they work for, their role at the company, and what about their business makes them a good potential prospect. It's like magic, and it saves me a ton of time. And I take over at that point, and I take that prospect through my traditional curated sales process. So it's not creating much outgoing cost for me at all, but its potential impact on my revenue is huge. And now I'm on a trajectory to be able to hire more humans to be editors and producers on my team, or to give my current team more hours. It's a beautiful thing. So if you reasonably can do it, do it. Hire a human. It's a great thing to be able to employ someone. But if, especially as a small business owner, you simply can't afford that right now, then consider using AI to do the busy work that will help you grow your business and get you there so that you can hire the people you need to fulfill those roles that are more core to the skill set of the services you are offering. Remember my big caveat. Never use AI to do the main work you are charging clients for. I think that's a bit unethical. So now on to the bonus point of discussion regarding AI and your business. I mentioned a moment ago that I recently revamped my entire business plan and menu of service offerings because it was crucial to maintaining my business, and that it was an important point of consideration in terms of AI. And it should be an important point of consideration in terms of AI for you too. My goal was to AI-proof my business. As I was saying, AI isn't going anywhere, and to ignore it would be a mistake. But that's not just in terms of considering whether or not to adopt it. It's also in terms of recognizing that what you may offer as a business may someday, if not already, be easily done through AI. and that your well of new customers may dry up as people find those new tools to use instead. AI had a huge effect on myself and other podcast production service companies because there are a lot of new AI-driven tools on the market to handle the basics of what we've offered here at Flintstone Media, episode editing. So I sat down one day and really took a good hard look at our business overall. And I decided to revamp our business model. First, that started with minimizing, or in some cases, eliminating altogether, those services that can now be done with AI. Editing will always have better results with a human touch, but there are those potential customers who will happily settle for a lower quality end result for a lower cost. And I had to accept that. So I minimized those services. Second, I maximized and focused in on those services that we provide that simply cannot be done by AI, and that I don't predict there will ever be an AI for in the future. In our case, that was our curated show development process, which relies heavily on both my business background and podcasting experience. None of that can be duplicated by AI. And how I apply those to the process of developing and launching a new show cannot be imitated by AI. And third, I crafted new service offerings that doubled down on the idea number 2, focusing in on those services that we provide that simply cannot be done by AI. As an example, I have an extensive scope and history of hosting shows of essentially all kinds. So I created a hosting bootcamp as a brand new service offering. So whether or not you decide to adopt AI into your business processes, take some time to seriously brainstorm how to make your business AI-proof, minimizing, or in some cases, eliminating altogether, those services that can now be done with AI, focusing in on those services that you provide that simply cannot be done with AI, and crafting new service offerings that also cannot be done by AI. But to circle back to my original thought on this, I wonder if my 3 main concerns are some of the same concerns you may have been having about AI. I'd love to hear your thoughts. So please send me an email at blender@flintstonemedia.com and let me know. And if we do share a lot of the same concerns, take a look at what they have going on with Marblism. It may just be the answer you've been looking for too. So I've included a link to Marblism in the show notes for you. This week's episode was brought to you by Flintstone Media, my podcast production house and consultancy firm, and by Marblism. If you want to learn even more about Marblism and its ability to help you cut down on the busy work of building your business and focus on just your creative lens, check out our blog post at flintstonemedia.com/blog. Thanks for listening. If you are a business owner, marketing manager, or content creator, join in the conversation with other Blender members on our Slack channel, which you can find the link for along with everything else at blenderbizshow.com. And please be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star review on your favorite podcast player. It's such a small and easy task, but it really helps us out. And as always, you can get more details and show notes about today's show, connect with our featured guests, and join us on social media also by going to blenderbizshow.com. So, what happens when you blend creative content into your business? I'm producer Jemmy, and I look forward to bringing you those valuable ideas and great stories every week on the Blender Business Show. We are the Blender community, where business and media mix.